All right, good evening, nerds around the world, and welcome to episode 32 of the Nerds Unite. It's one podcast. I am Paul English. I'm going to be your host tonight, and as always, we have a terrific show for you in stock, as well as a terrific panel that I'm going to introduce to you. Beginning with my co-admin, my co-host, it is Mr. Chris Miller. Chris, say hello.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? What's going on, fellas? Fellow nerds around the world. Glad to be chatting up with you on another episode of Nerds Unite.
Absolutely, absolutely. And back again as always, he has officially become famous by getting appearance on Yahoo. Please welcome Mr. Max Vincent. Max, how are you?
Hey, I actually also, on comicbook.com, my petition has reached 23,000 plus supporters. And please sign a petition. I don't want another Fantastic Four sequel, and then have AB here.
Yes, indeed, yes, indeed. And back again, hoping to become a regular at this point, we have Mr. Colton Hunt. Colton, how are you?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. Glad to be back again for my second time in a row. I think that's a record for me, my appearances on this show.
Yes, indeed, yes, indeed. Hopefully you'll have more to come, more to come. All right, guys, so we have a main topic and other news to talk about, which we will get to in a moment. But first, because we did not have this show yesterday, I do want to take a moment to commemorate yesterday being a rather sad day. Yesterday marked the 1-year anniversary of the passing of Robin Williams. Definitely a sad day. I can tell you I was stunned beyond words when I heard the news of his passing a year ago. I mean, the guy was my childhood. I mean, Jumanji, Aladdin, Mrs. Doubtfire, just amazing films that I grew up watching. I couldn't be more excited that Aladdin's finally getting released from the vault. I always knew Robin Williams was funny watching the movies, but I never knew how funny he was until I saw his stand-up special. Holy shit, this guy was incredible. To this day, his History of Golf segment from his 2002 Live on Broadway tour, still the funniest thing I have ever heard. Walking away the other fucking stalk! I 10 times! Oh my god. The most incredible thing I learned about it is that he never wrote down any of his jokes. He made them all up on the fly, and he was just so gifted at what he did. Like, whatever he was saying, he was already thinking 10 steps ahead of it. So he was truly an amazing talent, and, I mean, what else can you say but, oh, Captain, my Captain, you will be missed. So, yesterday, the 1-year anniversary of his passing, definitely a sad day for all of his fans, but long as we remember him, he will be immortal. So, Chris, give me your reaction. It's already been a year.
Yeah, it feels like it doesn't feel like a year's already been passed. I mean, it feels like yesterday when we learned of this like sudden tragedy. You know, I mean, he definitely was a gifted presence in movies and TV. You know, he definitely had a rapid fire wit and energy that he brought into his roles that none of our actor was able to equal. You know, he definitely did. He was a part of my childhood. I watched Jumanji. I watched Aladdin a lot. You can really, you know, the guy's talent is really evident. You know, but it's truly sad. You know that he has we lost him 1 year ago. He definitely will. He is still missed. Definitely.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, Max. Give me your thoughts on the fact that it's been a year since Robin Williams passed.
Well, when on August 11th, I went to my grandparents. I rented a couple of movies, and the movie I watched was Good Will Hunting. But I didn't know that Robin Williams passed away. So when I went on Facebook, someone posted, "Rest in peace, Robin Williams." At first, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was fake. But you know, slowly, you saw that he passed away, and I just thought it's heartbreaking because he didn't die from a disease or anything. He killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just thought, like, wow, you know, a comedian that makes everyone happy when you see a movie, you know, didn't have a happy life and had to end it in such a tragic way. I think it's the most tragic death of 2014, to be honest, because I couldn't believe the news.
Mm.
Yeah, he will definitely be missed because I still don't know why Sony's doing a Jumanji remake without Robin Williams.
Oh, you think that's bad? Wait till you hear this. Disney's planning an Aladdin prequel focusing on the origins of the genie.
Yes.
When I found out about that, I was like, excuse me while I throw up. Like, how dare Disney slapping the Robin Williams in the face like this? You just can't do that.
But like, who's gonna play the genie, and who's gonna play Alan Parrish in the remake of Jumanji? Like, who's
No
gonna
one
play
can
it?
do it but Robin Williams. I'm sorry.
Exactly. It's like they're not moving forward with Mrs. Doubtfire 2. Good.
Good.
Yeah.
It's like now they're gonna remake Dead Poets Society. Who's gonna play Keating? It's like you cannot replicate these roles. Robin Williams is like he's a genius.
He is.
He was a
indeed.
genius at his work, and he will be missed though.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Say that again.
All right, Colton. What are your thoughts as we mark this tragic 1-year anniversary?
Oh, like all of you guys, it doesn't feel like it's been a year, but it has been, and I was shocked like pretty much everyone else. And it's like you say, like some people say, sometimes the people that seem the happiest are the saddest and what have you. And it's like I've never really been able to, I guess, fully process it because it just doesn't feel like he's really gone, but he is. And not much we can really do about it, unfortunately, because well, we can't wish him back to life because that the genie can't do that. Speaking of making a Aladdin prequel focusing on the genie, yeah, that does seem in pretty poor taste for Disney to do. Like normally, I would be defending them, and when it comes to them making live action versions of their old movies, but to actually focus it entirely on the genie, that's why. And a remake of Jumanji. Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend that Jumanji was one of my favorite movies, but it also seems in poor taste that it just happens to be that they just happened to announce it like 1 year after Robin Williams was dead.
Yeah.
Like if this happened like I don't know decades from now or something, and like I could see them like going ahead with it, but it's only been a year, man.
Yeah. Total bullshit. Young age of 63, left us too young, but left a legacy to remember. He will definitely be missed for sure.
Yeah,
All right,
gone
guys.
but never forgotten.
Absolutely, absolutely.
As long as
All
his
right, guys.
memory live, his heart memory will always be with us.
Yes, yes, indeed. All right, everyone. So let's move on to the main topic: the much maligned, much trashed live-action Transformers film franchise. So I think the goal. So let's just jump right into it. I don't know too much about like the history of the Transformers. I know that it started off with an animated show in the mid '80s, kind of like with the intention of selling toys. It became a huge hit with young boys and wound up getting several different animated TV show incarnations, all with the intent of selling more toys, more and more. But they finally got the big screen adaptation, thanks to Steven Spielberg and Michael Bay, with the first live-action Transformers film in 2007. So let's just jump right in and let's just talk about that first one, the one that started all. I don't really think it's all that bad. I mean, yeah, it's got some stupid moments, but it's also got some good moments. It's not completely Michael Bayified yet. Shia LaBeouf didn't completely suck. Megan Fox didn't suck at all. I mean, it was an okay movie. I enjoyed it when I first saw it, and I still enjoy it. I mean, is it a great movie? No, but it certainly didn't suck. At least I didn't think so. So that's what I thought about the first one. Chris, jump right in on this. What did you think? What do you think of the first Transformers film?
I remember seeing this movie, with some friends, when it first came out. I mean, I really hadn't been following the campaign for this movie. I mean, I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure about this. A live-action movie based on toys. I mean, I wasn't trying to like talk smack about it or anything, but it wasn't really something I was really interested in. But when I came into when I saw that when I went into the theater, I was blown away. To be perfectly honest, yeah, the story's kind of weak. The characters are kind of one-dimensional and stuff like that. But but the action sequences are pretty top-notch. And the visual effects by Industrial Light and Magic are beyond incredible. To say the least. Does it have some weak moments? Yes. I mean, does it have some poor taste in humor? It does. It does. But you can't deny, how awesome this movie is. I mean, it's not the greatest movie ever made, of course not. But it's a pretty decent, adaptation of a very popular line of toys.
Okay. All right. Colton, why don't you go next? Give me your thoughts on the Transformers 1.
Alright, my memories are spotty, but I did remember enjoying it when I saw it in theaters, and I think it's the only movie in the series where I think all the human characters are all bearable as opposed to either being superfluous or annoying like in some of the sequels and whatnot. Like Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, I thought they worked in this movie, and all the action I think with the Transformers was pretty cool. The effects were pretty much on point. And I thought it was just a simple but to the point movie. It knew what it wanted to be, which was a big time summer blockbuster, but it didn't go overboard with its action, which is more than I can say for the sequels, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Yes.
And let's see here. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on the fact. It was simple but good, I think.
Okay, Max, Transformers 1, did you see it? What did you think?
Alright, at first, when I was a little kid and I was stupid, I loved this movie. It was like my favorite action movie ever because things were blowing up. But when I started to take films more seriously, I decided to watch it again. This movie sucks. It's overlong. It has any of the Bay-isms, whatever you call it. It gave me a really big throbbing headache, and it had some of the worst acting I've ever seen. The fourth one's my favorite, but that's not even saying much.
What?
Oh dear God.
Oh,
But that's right.
How old is it?
What the hell?
We'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf sucks. Megan Fox, she's hot, but can she act? No. She
no.
can't act, for the love of God. Being hot doesn't mean being a good actress.
Mm.
And the action scenes, there's so much things going on. I don't know if you guys seen the video of Red Letter Media watching all 3 Transformers movies at once. And when it's the finale, so much things are going on. Everybody's like, I got this big headache because there was so many explosions, and it was too long. It was too long, and it was boring, and it was terrible. I hated this movie. I hate all of them. I hate all of them. But
Oh, wow.
Just saying, it's an action movie. Explosions are going to happen, you know.
Yeah, but not like Michael Bay explosions. Like where something super realistic gets overblown by a really big explosion.
I would probably like compared to like what we'll discuss in the sequels. All the base explosions in the first one, they were bearable to an extent, which is more than I can say for like some of the base explosions in the sequels. But
I kind of wish Spielberg directed Transformers. I knew it could have been a better movie if he directed it.
well, Steven Spielberg can make anything better. I mean, he's Steven Spielberg, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Except Indiana Jones 4.
Ready Player.
I had to actually,
Valid point.
I had to laugh at how
Even
Transformers
he admitted
4
he half-assed it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to laugh at how Transformers 4 didn't actually mention Spielberg's name in any of the advertising in comparison to Transformers 1, 2, and 3. I guess, man, he must be really tired of producing these movies or something like that.
Yeah, I imagine he just didn't want to be associated with it anymore. All right, so Caleb and I have discussed this on multiple moments that we all seem to agree that if there were no sequel, if they had stopped after this first one, and honestly, they could have. I mean, Megatron was dead, the Transformers had a new home, Sam got the girl, perfect ending, right? Hollywood ending, beautiful. Caleb and I agree that if they ended it after that, they would not be hated as much. I don't know who started calling him Shia LaBeouf. It might have been the Schmoes. I can't remember.
Yeah. It's the Schmoes.
So the Schmoes wouldn't have called Shia LaBeouf. I mean, none of these guys would have gotten hammered on as much as they have. But no, Transformers was a big hit, made a shit ton of money. So obviously, not only did Paramount want a sequel made, but they decided to give Michael Bay even more control over this film than he had in the first one. Because I think Michael Bay was still restrained in the first. Like Steven Spielberg had him under a bit of a thumb, Paramount had him under a bit of a thumb, but Transformed became a big hit. They said, okay, do what you want. Why the fuck did they do that? Transformers 2 was god fucking awful. It was the same pile of shit that the first one was, even worse. The too many Bay explosions. Didn't one of the Transformers have did some of the Transformers have testicles?
Devastator had testicles. Yeah, they were wrecking balls. It was I can understand the kind, but that wasn't really necessary.
some of the Transformers had like racial accents. I was
The
just
twins. Oh my
and
gosh.
the action sucked. Too many base blows. Like, and speaking of Construction Devastator, he was featured in every single fucking trailer and TV spot in this movie, building up to be this unbelievable fucking badass Decepticon that Optimus is gonna have to fight at some point. He's in there for like what 5-6 minutes and he goes down like a little bitch boy. What the fuck? This movie was just fucking awful.
But the funny thing about that is that Steven Spielberg has gone on record saying that he actually cursed in excitement when he saw Devastator's design. So he must have really been ticked off.
He looked freaking awesome. I'm not gonna deny that. He looked really cool. It's just he was in there for 5 minutes and he went down like a little bitch. It's like, come on, guys.
Like Dr. Doom in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't seen Fantastic Four yet, so I couldn't tell, but I imagine so. But anyway, yeah, and then, you know, Shia LaBeouf got even worse. Megan Fox got even worse. Just, oh my god. This movie's god fucking awful. All right, Colton, why don't you go first on this one? Transformers 2, what'd you think?
Alright, when I saw the reviews for Revenge of the Fallen, I was dead shocked. Well, granted, that was when I was a kid and I didn't really understand, I kind of didn't really put much stock in critical reviews. But nevertheless, when I saw Revenge of the Fallen, I actually could see where the critics were coming from. Because a few things, there were a lot of just go with it moments in the movie, such as Fallen comes out of nowhere and is taken down almost just as easily once he actually goes head-to-head with Optimus. And Shia LaBeouf, yeah, I agree, he's more annoying in this movie because the whole thing with him getting all that Transformers knowledge in his mind made him act a lot more wackier and whatnot. And the fact that he was MacGuffin guy was pretty much the only reason he was in this movie, and Megan Fox really had no point being there either, other than the fact that she was the love interest, and she didn't do much either. It's like, say what you will about Nicola Peltz playing Tessa in Transformers Age of Extinction.
Oh, God.
She at least got to do something in regards to the plot, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, going back to Revenge of the Fallen, yeah, too many go with the moments. The action scenes were a lot more overblown. Like the fight sequence in the forest, even though it was cool seeing Optimus taking on three Decepticons at once, at times I could almost not really tell what was going on during the fight. And then there are those racist twins, okay?
Oh, no.
Bay's gone on record saying that they weren't supposed to be racist, but that's what they were. But, you know, people say that Jar Jar Binks is an annoying character, but at least his heart is in the right place. The twins are really, really annoying and obnoxious. That's what makes them like really bad characters, is the fact that they're obnoxious and whatnot, and their voices are really annoying. It's not like Jar Jar's voice is kind of childish and whatnot, so I can live with that. I cannot live hearing with the twins' voices, however. They just really got on my nerves, and the fact that they were inexplicably the Transformers that got to pal around with Shia LaBeouf and with Sam and be part of a lot of action scenes, that just really bugged me.
Okay. When you mention a character being even worse than Jar Jar Binks, you know you've designed something really stupid.
Yeah.
I think another reason why you talked about that fight scene with Optimus taking on like 3 Decepticons, I think another reason that slowed it down was Shia's constant screaming. Like, did you know this guy screamed all the time in this movie?
Optimus!
Like,
Optimus!
Shut up!
No.
All right. Chris, go ahead with Transformers 2.
Oh boy, the beginning of the decline, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Overlong, visually, yes, visually stunning, but hollow to its core. You know? It's very incoherent in its actor sequences. I feel they're overstuffed. They have some totally lame humor, especially the racist twins. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Damn it. And the other abominations, just like in terms of like creation of character. Oh my God, Shia LaBeouf is even more worse than he was in the first one. It lacks a human touch. It's underplotted. It's noisy, loud. And, you know, it's like what Shakespeare says. It's full sound and fury, but signifying nothing. Yeah, and then with the Shia LaBeouf whole screaming like a little bitch, he's like, I was like, what the? It's like, you gotta be shitting me. I was like, are you serious? Oh, I was like, oh, this was unbearable. I mean, it's a Michael Bay movie. It's going to be underplotted. It's going to be full action. It's going to have an abundance of military in this movie. It's like a disappointment on all counts.
Yeah, that's something I found like that might be, in my opinion, like the biggest problem with the Transformers films, that there is too much focus on the humans. It's like you might as well call it the first film, like The Adventures of, Sam Witwicky featuring the Transformers. Like, if I'm going to see a film called Transformers, I want to see the Transformers. I don't give a damn about the humans.
Well, the fact that the CGI obviously costs a lot, so I guess they couldn't put too much focus on the Transformers. I guess I don't know.
If the CGI is too expensive, then just use just make it a purely animated movie. Just give it a quantum explosion, make it PG-13. Like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But goddamn it, make it about the Transformers. Make them the main characters and keep those humans on the side. Ugh. Anyway, Max, go ahead about Transformers 2. Rip this one. Go ahead.
It's been a while since I've only seen it once because the Transformers movies, they give me like huge headaches all the time. Every movie, all 4 of those movies gave me the biggest headache, but the one that gave me the biggest one was Revenge of the Fallen. I will never forget, after the movie ended, this movie's so bad. Oh my god, this movie's so bad. It is the worst one of the bunch. I think we can all agree on the worst part, in my opinion, are what Colton said, those 2 robots, Mudflap and Skid, I believe they are the names. They're so annoying. Even more annoying than Jar Jar Binks, yes. They're so annoying. They're racist and really annoying, and it's not a good combination. They're so annoying. I mean, every time they're talking, when there are action scenes, I just wanted to get in the screen and just say, "Shut up."
I was really hoping they were gonna die during the fight with Devastator.
Yes. And
I usually don't let characters die, but that was one of the few times where I'm actually like, please just don't make it. And alas.
Yeah. And then Shia LaBeouf just commenting on every single action scene. Optimus! Optimus! It's so bad. Megan Fox was horrible, as always. It's no surprise. This movie's too long. It's too long, and it spends time on the human characters. I don't want to see any of those boring human characters. I want to see robots fighting robots, or Pacific Rim style robots fighting kaijus, because that was awesome. But I don't know. Transformers 2 is another. It was in my opinion the worst of the 4. I think we can agree on that.
It is the worst of the 4.
What did I want to say? Oh yeah, when it came out. Yeah. When it came out at my elementary school, it was the talk of the town because everybody said how much explosions it had. I don't know how many explosions are there in this movie, but there are a lot.
I've come to the conclusion that Michael Bay has an explosion fetish. Like, if he could, he would create a huge, he would detonate a nuclear weapon, freeze the mushroom cloud, drill a hole on the bottom of it, and fuck it. I truly think he would do that.
I believe so too.
All right, so yeah, let's try to move on to the third one, which I don't even. It's so bad I can't remember the title of it. It's Dark of the Moon, and we replace a scantily clad, hallowed shell of an actress named Megan Fox for another scantily clad, hallowed shell of an actress named Rosie Huntington, whatever the hell her name is. Yeah, she was just a carbon copy. She gave nothing to this movie. And although I don't think it would have mattered, this film was friggin' atrocious. I only saw it once, and I remember just fucking hating on it. Yeah, I have no words to describe just how awful it was, because it's been so long since I've seen it. Frankly, I don't want to remember. Like, the main thing I remember was that Buzz Aldrin had a cameo in this movie. Like, dude, why would you discredit yourself appearing in this movie? Come on, man, you're a legend. Don't ruin your rep, man. Oh God. So yeah, Dark of the Moon sucked, and what's even worse, Leonard Nimoy voiced Sentinel Prime. Like, Leonard, come on, man! Like, you're a legend too. Don't discredit yourself, man. Especially after he said he was done acting. It's like, oh god. Yeah, this movie was fucking atrocious. I could not stand it. So that's all I gotta say on Transformers 3. Max, go ahead. What did you think of Transformers 3?
Well, honestly, I thought it wasn't that bad. I mean, the first 2 hours were terrible. They were god-awful. Rosie Huntington-Whiteley is so bad in this movie. I don't care about her 1 ounce. Patrick Dempsey plays the human villain. I did not care about it at all. I did not care about the human characters at all. The only thing I care about was the robot characters. But once again, they're focusing on the human characters. And it's boring. And it has too much explosions. And it's over long. It feels like we're all repeating ourselves. The only thing that I didn't mention was that in each and every movie, the visual effects are amazing. I mean, Industrial Light and Magic, they're awesome visual effects. It shows because the visual effects in all 4 movies are fantastic. But I did like the ending with the Battle of Chicago. I thought it was a spectacle. Probably because I saw it in an IMAX theater that I was kind of really immersed and overwhelmed by those images that I really, really felt like I was in it. But that's it. These are my thoughts on the film.
Okay, Colton, go ahead with Transformers 3. What'd you think of it?
First of all, be careful what you say about Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. She's dating Jason Statham, and will probably beat you up if you find someone you hate her. Okay, anyway, in all seriousness, I think Dark of the Moon is mediocre, and it's better than Revenge of the Fallen. Well, then again, anything's better than Revenge of the Fallen. But in all seriousness, I think it was a valiant effort at making another good Transformers movie, because Sentinel Prime, he actually gave the Transformers character that they were missing in the previous sequel, where they were kind of, I don't know, just there and whatnot. Sentinel Prime was also, I think, a better version of the Fallen. He was another very important Transformer. And Leonard Nimoy, I mean, if you didn't like the fact that he was voicing the character, he at least made the character sound credible, if you will. And I liked how he was Optimus' mentor, and he was a pretty powerful bad guy. The twist where we found out that he was defecting to the Decepticons actually surprised me. I also felt like Sam was back to being slightly more bearable in this movie because he wasn't MacGuffin guy again. He actually got to participate in the action scenes. As for Patrick Dempsey being the villain, he was obviously just meant to be a case of, I'm basically the better version of you, Sam. I'm good looking, I'm successful, and I'm evil, working with the Decepticons. Symbolism! Anyway, the fight scenes were also pretty cool, but my main issue was the ending of the movie, where pretty much every single main evil Decepticon was killed off. It reminded me of Spider-Man 3, where they had Venom show up and then killed him off after only being on screen for a few minutes because they wanted to have any and all loose ends tied up in case they couldn't go on in case they weren't picked up in case the 4th movie was not greenlit or anything. You have to be thinking, what is it with these movies always killing their villains at the end and whatnot? They could have so much potential to be continued on in later sequels or so. And that, of course, leads to the problem with Transformers Age of Extinction, where they have to take at least half the movie to get Megatron back after he's been decapitated in the previous film, and I'll talk about that later. Otherwise, I think the movie was, like I said, just mediocre. I liked the fact that this movie featured pretty much an army of Decepticons attacking Earth. It was a full-scale invasion, which gave it a pretty good sense of scale and whatnot. So I say it's watchable in the end. That's all I have to say. Well, that and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley was a pretty poor substitute for Megan Fox. I mean, okay, that's not saying much, I guess, but nah, I got nothing else to say. Let's move on.
Okay, y'all finished Cold Night. Sorry, my internet connection is not acting appropriately right now. So, are you all finished or?
Yeah, that's what I have to say. Well, one of the things, like, yeah, if they were going to fire Megan Fox, and they shouldn't have really given.
All right, sorry. Like I said, my computer's not cooperating with me today. I think what it really needs is just a rest after this. So hopefully it'll allow me to get through this. In the meantime, Chris, why don't you talk about Transformers 3?
Transformers 3. Slightly better than Rise and Fall, but that's not saying much. Visually, of course, it looks great as usual, but still, it's noisy as its Legends of Fall. It's underplotted. It's repetitive. It is just horribly written. The dialogue is inane, and just is like it's just not it's not tolerable at all. It's not tolerable, not one bit. You know, I had some grievances with this movie, most notably when Leonard Nimoy was voicing Sentinel Prime. You know, and they butchered his line, which he used in Star Trek II, where he said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. I was like, I just put my hands around you, Michael Bay, and I want to strangle you. How could you?
It's the writer's fault.
It's like, how could you butcher that line? It's like, how could you say such a classic line? Why? Oh my God! I felt like the human characters were as boring as usual. I just like there was a lack of focus on the Transformers. Rosie Huntington Whiteley was a poor substitute with Megan Fox. She's very vapid in this role, and she can't even act her way out of the can. I was like, Michael Bay, please don't give Victoria's Secret model. Expect them to be, you know, incredible actresses. Like, don't just don't even go down that route. It's just like it's just as bad as his predecessor. It's just like this. The sequel, which we will talk about soon, is even worse. I don't know what that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So while we were in the middle of that, we had Jack joining us. Jack, can you hear us? How's it going?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm good.
All right. So you've joined just in the nick of time because you got a little explaining to do. But in the meantime, we've already discussed the first 3 Transformers films. So real quick, give me your thoughts on the first 3, 1, 2, and 3 in that order.
I liked 1. 1 was okay. You know, it was okay. It wasn't anything great. It was good. It was entertaining. 2 was kind of boring and okay. 3 was the worst of the trilogy. I mean, I was so bored in 3. It's like, all right, so let's get Megan Fox. We can all say she's not the best actress, but at least she is an actress, period. Instead, let's go get an underwear model for no reason. Because it's a Michael Bay movie, so we need a hot lady with no acting experience. And then it's like, well, let's not even explain why Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox broke up for, like, no reason. Instead, and then let's, like, not do anything for the first however long. When there's a half hour left in the movie, let's do a big battle of just, like, CGI explosions because I am Michael Bay. And that's all I do is explosions and explosions. And those are my thoughts on 1, 2, and 3.
Michael Bay right now is probably masturbating on some explosions.
All right. We have reached the moment of truth. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a very controversial feeling about this next film we are going to discuss among one of our members. Jack, it is our understanding that you actually liked Age of Extinction. You have some splaining to do, my friend, so why don't you get started on it? What the hell is it about this movie you actually like?
Well, first, can I say what I didn't like?
No.
Okay.
That's
You
fair
might
enough.
as well say it at the end, so that way you don't rip you with badly.
Alright, so I'll go with what I liked. It was entertaining. I mean, you actually had Mark Wahlberg, who's a pretty good actor. I liked the plot. It was a darker kind of Transformers movie. It had a lot of action, and they actually had more of a plot this time. And Dinobots. You had Optimus Prime killing a Dinobot and then riding a freaking Dinobot into battle. I mean, that's awesome. It's a freaking Dinobot, dude. What I didn't like was when they decided, let's explain why Mark Wahlberg's daughter can date this other dude who's like older than her.
God.
Let's go into this whole Romeo and Juliet role, and it's like, well, that's just disturbing because now I can't even look at this girl the same way in the movie because I think she's younger than she is. And then I was a little upset that they teased in all the trailers, Dinobots, Dinobots, Dinobots. And then you get the Dinobots for like 10 minutes, the movie. And it's like, thanks a lot, trailers. You got me all excited. I thought we were going to see a lot more Dinobots.
Yeah, they did that with the Devastator in Revenge of the Fallen.
All right, yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. So there's Chris, Colton, Max, myself. Okay, Jack, prepare to get ripped 4 new assholes. Okay. Now, I was warned countless times. I did not see this movie in theater. I was waiting for it to either come on the premium channels or Netflix to go watch it. I was warned plenty of times. Don't see this movie. You will not survive. You will be dead before it is over. Ladies and gentlemen, I may be alive right now, but that film cost me something dear. It cost my sanity. After watching this movie, I felt like I had lost all sense of reality. I had just gone from my mind. But here's kind of the funny thing, you see, I was warned about it ahead of time, so I knew what I was getting myself into, and yet I still watched it. I deserve the punishment. I deserve to be locked up in a mental ward.
You got 100.
I think we just lost Paul.
It's not as bad as the last Airbender.
It's fucking awful. What was the nostalgia critic said? I'm trying to think about Field the Cat. What was he said? If a piece of shit took a piece of shit, and that piece of shit took a piece of shit, and that piece of shit made a movie, which then took a piece of shit, this is a piece of shit you would see! Everything about a god-awful fucking Michael Bay movie is in this movie. Over-the-top explosion, terrible performances, too much focus on the Transformers. I could go on and on about this fucking movie. I do not have
Let's focus on the Transformers.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Mark Wahlberg sucked in this movie. I'm sorry. Again, the girl, all hotness, no acting, too much focus on the humans, not enough on the Transformers. Galvatron had multiple personality disorder. Was he Galvatron? Was he Megatron? Who the fuck was he? The Dinobot, as Jack mentioned, 10 minutes. But Optimus Prime, like, dude, half his lines in this movie are some changed way of, I'm going to kill you. Like, dude. Like, I know you're pissed after what happened in the Battle of Chicago at the end of Dark of the Moon, but for God's sakes, dude, here's what you need to do, Optimus. Here's what you need to do, okay? Grab a fruit smoothie, put on some soft rock, pull up the recliner, and mellow the fuck out.
Hey,
You are losing. You've got anger management issues.
in his defense, a lot of his friends were dead.
I did that. It's half his lines are, I'm going to kill you. Like, that's what a villain does, not a hero. Everything about this movie, like, it finally happened. Michael Bay drove me fucking insane. He really did.
Okay.
Okay.
I think somebody else should go
Paul
now.
is going bye-bye. Anyone want to take over?
Oh dear God.
Okay. Tranquilizer pills. Always have those handy when dealing with Michael Bay bullshit. Always have some tranquilizer pills ready to go when dealing with him. Woo! Well,
I wish I had
Well,
those
let
when I
those
saw
pills
the last
sink in.
Airbender. I'll be right back.
let that pill sink in. Chris, why don't you go ahead about Age of Extinction while I mellow out?
Woo! Age of Extinction. Age of Extinction. Where do I begin? It's as bad as the previous Transformers sequels. It looks like Michael Bay sucked to an all-time low with it. It is definitely worse than those two combined. Like I said, the visual effects are great as usual, but like those sequels, it's hollow to its core. It's just stupid. Mark Wahlberg was the only great thing about this movie, and Transformers movies have not been credited with some great acting. Let's be honest, of course. They're just sounding like shows. Nicola Peltz, she was boring in this one. It seems like Michael Bay has taken his love and explosions to an all-time high, and I'm not being kind about it. I mean, it's just stupid, overplotted. I'm not sure it's overplotted, but it's underplotted. The human characters were uninteresting. It's just not satisfying on many levels. I thought my body could not. My body was like in so much shock after seeing that movie. It was just like it was unfucking bearable. Worst Transformers movie ever. Absolutely.
Okay. Max, why don't you go ahead next? Talk about this poor piece of shit.
All right. This Transformers: Age of Extinction is the longest movie in the Transformers franchise.
I noticed that. Nearly 3 hours of god-awful atrocities.
I have wasted, and I think all of us had wasted 164 minutes of our lives watching this.
That we will never get back. Oh, sad.
Fuck you, Michael Bay!
I didn't waste mine.
Shut up, Jack.
Be quiet, Jack.
Okay. Nicola Peltz was the worst actress ever. Like, I can't. Oh my god. I'm just thinking of her terrible performance in this movie, and it's bringing like terrible flashbacks. We're dating. It's fine. Here's a card that explains, well, it's the Romeo and Juliet law. We can date now.
Oh dear God.
I mean, Michael Bay is so lazy. There are a couple of TV monitors, and you see like some of them still have the green screen on it. Such a lazy filmmaker. Filmmaking has never been this so lazy, ever. I mean, there's a little hand grenade. Don't tell me that this whole street can blow up with this one little hand grenade. There's so much explosions, so much things going on, and the thing that pissed me off the most was that they shot this movie using IMAX 3D digital cameras, and the aspect ratio kept changing every 2 seconds.
I think we just lost him.
No, I think he's just talking though. Okay, wait, he's back.
Yeah, okay. Like, once it was shot on on film, and IMAX film. Literally, I was distracted by the aspect ratio changes. And I kind of liked it, because that's probably the only thing I liked about the movie, was when the aspect ratio changed. I think it's the best out of all of them, because the visual effects look really good, the 3D is really great, and that's about it. The rest of the movie, Mark Wahlberg is awful. I'm an inventor. That's what inventors do.
Yeah. All right, Colton, go ahead, rip this film a new one.
Well, before I do that, when I was reading about age of extinction just randomly throughout the internet, I came across something that said that the age of consent in Texas is apparently 17, meaning that the entire stupid Romeo and Juliet clause wasn't necessary. It was a case of critical research failure, I guess. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. If I could sum up age of extinction in one sentence, it would be they wasted a perfectly good plot. I mean, Optimus is being hunted down by the United States government, and they're they're using the dead Transformers to make their own Transformer army. You mean to tell me that's not enough to work with? They had to have that conspiracy with the creators saying, Optimus, you weren't born, you were made. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it really just overcomplicated things, especially since that plot point wasn't really... The movie couldn't really seem to know what plot point it wanted to have focus on. Like, one minute we were focusing on KSI, then all of a sudden, Lockdown showed up out of nowhere to begin the whole creator plotline, and the KSI people were temporarily forgotten about. Then after they escaped from his ship, then suddenly we went back to the people in their Transformers army, and then shortly after that big battle in the city was over with, then Lockdown shows back up again, and we're suddenly back to the creator plotline again. I'm thinking, make up your mind on what storyline you want to focus on, okay? Because they are both actually pretty good stories. Hold on for a minute. I need a drink.
That it was a pretty good villain, Lock.
That didn't come out right. It was water. Yeah, so, Jack. Yeah, I agree. Lockdown was actually a pretty good bad guy, and I think he would have been even more better. Maybe he had been an Autobot or something, and he had basically just sold out Optimus and his friends because he didn't want to die and whatnot. That could have made him he was already a great villain, but I think he would have been a lot better if he didn't have a hidden agenda, so to speak. And I liked how they brought back Megatron back to his former glory as a big bad, as opposed to being the, well, I think, what's her name, Rosie Huntington-Whiteley called him Sentinel Prime's bitch in Transformers Dark of the Moon, and then there's this unceremonious death at the end of the film, so it's nice that he's back in, hopefully better than ever. I guess we'll have to wait to the sequel to find that out. And as for the human characters, I didn't mind them that much. Like Mark Wahlberg, he's at least a more credible leading man than Shia LaBeouf was in the sequels to Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon. I could have done without Shane, though. He seemed like he was supposed to be kind of the replacement for Shia LaBeouf's character in that he looked like he could... Like, the joke seemed to be that he looked like a conventional male lead, but when they got surrounded by Decepticons, he's like, I surrender! Which was pretty humorous, actually. And then he drops his gun and accidentally kills all of them. But like I said, he was pretty unnecessary and just complicated. Made things very creepy with his relationship with Tessa, who I actually didn't think she was bad. She was a lot more useful than Carly was, or Rosie Huntington-Whiteley's character in Dark of the Moon, and a lot more interesting and a lot more useful than Megan Fox. What was her name in the Michaela? Was that Megan Fox's character's name? Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
More useful than Michaela was in Revenge of the Fallen, but I also thought she was also a wasted character because since they're experiencing financial difficulties and whatnot, and her boyfriend's a rally driver, I'm thinking maybe she should have been the rally driver instead of his navigator. That could have also made her useful, as she could have been the one that was driving them throughout the movie as opposed to Shane doing all of that. And also Kelsey Grammer, he was probably another saving grace in this movie. I thought his acting was pretty good, even though every once in a while his acting made me think of Fraser Crane. Then we have Stanley Tucci. While I like him as an actor, I think he was used for some very bad comedy relief in this movie. Like, every time he tried to make me laugh, I'm thinking, oh, just shut up already, Stanley. I like you, but you have some very bad material to work with here. I guess we should blame that on, I don't know, Kruger, who wrote the movie, or Michael Bay. Somebody has to pay for this, I guess. But I think my biggest complaint about this movie was indeed its length. Now, I don't have a problem with the movie being long if it uses its time wisely, but none of the plot lines really meshed up as well as they should have, even though the whole thing with Lockdown and the people in KSI should have, but it didn't at all. Am I making any sense here? Am I rambling?
No, you're making sense.
Let's see here. And also, aside from Optimus, I wasn't a fan of the new Transformers. They were badass and all that, and I did like the scene where Hound fought all those Transformers down to his last bit of ammo. But sometimes his voice just sounded off to me. The same can be said for Crosshairs. He was voiced by John DiMaggio. Something about him made me think of Dick Dastardly for some reason. I know that's stupid, but that's just me. And then there was also, what's his name now? I think Ken Watanabe also was actually not that bad a voice for Drift, but the fact that he was voicing a samurai Transformer just made me think unintentional racism near people. And as for the Dinobots, they would have been a lot better if the marketing team hadn't spoiled their existence to begin with. because when they actually showed up, they were pretty badass and all. Too bad we already knew they were going to show up, and as such, we're expecting more from them. And that's pretty much the whole kit and caboodle. Oh yeah, one last thing. If they did not want to if they didn't want to have Shia LaBeouf back as the main character, then the main character should have been the soldier characters from the first 3 movies. They would have made a lot more sense to have Josh Duhamel and Tyrese Gibson be the leads, since the entire movie was about humans hunting down the Transformers. They could have been people that defected from that team or were now racing to keep the Transformers safe. But alas, they were not in this movie. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I give it a 4.5 out of 10 when I reviewed it on my own show. And yeah, like I said, it was basically they wasted a perfectly good plot. They had the ingredients for a good Transformers movie, but they overcomplicated things. I finished.
Oh, well, now I remembered something else I liked about the film. Drift was awesome. He was a badass ninja transformer.
Okay.
He was alright.
Alright.
The funny thing about that,
and-
the Transform. Oh, sorry, Paul. The scene of the Transformers all banded together, and he said, "At last, there's hope after all." And I'm like, I actually like that scene, and then things immediately start going downhill afterwards.
All right, I'm back.
In my whole rant thing, something I forgot to mention, that there was one line in this movie that got a laugh out of me. It was at the beginning of it where that Mark Wahlberg's character's at that old movie theater, and the owner who says he's giving it to his son is talking about, that's the problem with Hollywood these days. Too many reboots and sequels and all that crap. That got a laugh at me. So self-referential humor. You're making one of those piece of shit sequels, Michael Bay. Well, at least you acknowledge it sucks. Good for you.
I take offense to the whole there are too many reboots and prequels and sequels and whatnot in Hollywood. I mean, there's only a few of them out each year or so that doesn't really make up the entire industry. That's just my 2 cents.
Alright. So that's going to wrap up all the Transformers discussion. But that is not the end of our show yet, ladies and gentlemen. We have some news to go over in the world of TV and movies. The first one we're going to go over is one that was shared by our own Christopher Miller. He posted a official photo of Jay Garrick for Season 2 of The Flash, paying homage to the iconic 61 comic of Flash of Two Worlds. I'm hoping to get a better close-up version of it at some point, but he looks pretty good so far. What do y'all think about Jay Garrick's live-action costume for Season 2 of The Flash?
I don't watch The Flash.
I haven't seen the costume yet.
It looks pretty decent, I'm pretty much excited what they have in store for Season 2. The direction they're going in. They're going to other parallel worlds, something like that. Time travel. It's just and the first season of The Flash was pretty good. It'll be interesting to see Jay Garrick's part in all this. This is it's real. It was when at the finale when in the wormhole when Jay Garrick's helmet comes out of it, it's I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure I would be surprised, but there might be a chance for Jay Garrick, But this is going to be, it's pretty cool. It's going to be exciting where they lead this thing,
I don't watch The Flash, so I can't.
I don't like who they. I don't like who they cast for Wally West.
Who'd they cast?
I can't remember his name. We will. I'll look for that, and maybe we can talk about it next week. There was more news that I was gonna go over, but unfortunately, my my internet is just not cooperating with me right now. Google Plus seems to hate me right now. So, unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to have to cut it early because I'm having trouble hearing everyone. And then I want to make sure I hear everybody for these news. So we'll pick up some more of these. We'll talk about these movies stories again next week. Hopefully, the internet will be more cooperative with us next time around. So. Sorry to do this to everyone, but I'm gonna cut it short early before something bad happens and Google Plus winds up shitting out on one of us. So
talk about one piece of news that's Arrow related. I don't know if you guys heard.
Is it about Constantine coming to Arrow?
yeah, yeah, that's the story. But Jack, you're breaking up all the time. I can't hear you very well right now. So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss that on next week's show. So. In the meantime, before Google Plus shits on once, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Max, it was nice to have you here, as always.
All right, it's a pleasure to be here.
We will hopefully see you for next week's show. Colton, thanks very much for being here.
Happy to be here.
Jack, I know it was late, but we appreciate you making the effort to join in.
Yeah, sorry I was late. I had a good time being the only one to defend Transformers 4.
Well, I kind of defended it, sort of. So you're not alone.
It doesn't change the fact that it was a shitty movie. And Chris, thank you very much for being here.
Oh, definitely. I enjoy doing these things for you, Paul. It's been a pleasure. I mean, it's a pleasure.
All right, guys. So that's gonna wrap up the show. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.
See ya.
Peace.